So good morning, everybody. My name is Amy Kedron, and today we're going to be talking about social enterprise a little bit. How many people have been to an SEA summit before? Great, great. And for everyone else in the room, who in the room would consider themselves really familiar with the full scope of social enterprise? Okay, this is wonderful because we have an opportunity to discuss some issues today. So I have to apologize to you because things might get a little wonky this morning. I'm wrapping up a PhD dissertation right now, and I feel a bit like Punxsutawney Phil. He comes out of his hole for Groundhog Day, and the only time I really come out of my hole from writing is for things like this. So things are going to be a little academic, and I'll try my best to keep it light. Does this book look familiar to anyone? Has anyone read this book? No? Okay. Well, what's that? Oh, okay. Well, I'm going to read the title to you. It's Social Enterprise, Empowering Mission-Driven Entrepreneurs by Marc J. Lane. It's a new book. It came out in 2011. And today we're going to be having a discussion with the fabulous author of this work, Marc J. Lane. A bit of background on Marc. Marc J. Lane is a business and tax attorney and financial advisor who practices law at the law offices of Marc J. Lane, PC. He's an expert on entrepreneurship and entrepreneurial finance and an influential advocate of best corporate governance practices. He is a two-time recipient of the Illinois State Bar Association's Lincoln Award. He's also, Martindale-Hubbell includes him in its bar registry of preeminent attorneys. He's an innovator in helping social enterprises, investors, lenders, and philanthropists leverage capital to maximize financial results while driving positive social change. He teaches social enterprise at Northwestern University School of Law. He's a pioneer behind advocacy investing, which is an approach to socially responsible and mission-related investing. You can check that out at advocacyinvesting.com. And he is also a director of the Social Enterprise Alliance. He spearheaded the launch of its Chicago chapter and serves as president and director. He also chairs the SEA's affiliate, the Center for Social Enterprise Accreditation. And this is Marc's 34th book. So he's quite an intellectual. So please give a warm welcome to Marc J. Lane.
Thank you, Amy. Is this on?
Yes, it's on.
Well, I think the hour is up with the bio. I do appreciate the introduction.
Sure thing.
Boy, these lights are bright.
Yeah, they are kind of bright. Can we actually do something about the lights so that we can see the audience a little bit better? Oh, yeah, I think we're getting a little better, maybe. Okay, so today we're going to be talking about something rather important, right? Because this really speaks to the whole history of social enterprise. We're talking about the legal structures of social enterprises and funding strategies for them. Right? And I want to take you back about 30 years. And what I think we've been experiencing economically is we're kind of burning the candle at both ends a little bit, right? Because we have the for-profit sector over here, we have the nonprofit sector over here, right? And on the for-profit side, we have the whole issue of shareholder primacy, right? And which basically says that CEOs of companies have to maximize profits for shareholders, right? And if they put anything ahead of the bottom line, according to Milton Friedman, they could even be considered to be committing an immoral act, right? So people, the planet, all of those things are secondary to profit, right? And then we have nonprofit organizations picking up the slack way over here. But they had some trouble over the past 30 years because their operating costs went up, the demand for their services went up, and then philanthropic and government support at the same time went down, and there were more nonprofit organizations competing for scarce dollars. So then we have the advent of the social enterprise, which really just sought to serve some type of mission, but also become more self-reliant by generating its own revenue. And so we're going to talk a little bit about that today. And this is an important issue because, as Marc says, you know, even the most well-meaning social enterprise is worthless if it doesn't pursue profit, because if you don't have any money, you have no mission, right? So what we're going to do today is I'm going to talk a little bit about the book that Marc wrote. It's very comprehensive. It's an excellent text. It talks about the legalities of many different types of social enterprises. It's a very broad range, but it's also really, really accessible. It talks at great length about funding opportunities. Marc did not tell me to shamelessly promote his book, but it's that good. It's a
Just
really
promote
great
it, not shamelessly.
So if there's anything that we don't get to today, you know, pick this up. It's a really good read. So what we're going to do is we're going to start a little bit about some of the different types of social enterprises out there, and then we're going to go into some more focused questions, and hopefully, I know the bio took up a lot of time, hopefully we'll have about 15 minutes at the end of the session to answer some of your questions. So the very first thing, hi Marc.
Hi, Amy.
The very first thing.
Pleasure to be with you, Amy.
It's a pleasure
and to all of our
with
Social
you.
Enterprise Alliance friends.
Yes, absolutely. It's great. So one of the first things I wanted to throw out there to warm everybody up a bit is, could you discuss, and there are tons of different social enterprise models out there. We're going to focus it a little bit today. We're going to talk about the 501c3, the 501c3's hybrid model, the low profit limited liability company, the L3C, and we're also going to talk about the benefit corp.
Okay.
So just from a nonprofit for-profit perspective, can you break down how some of those are structured?
Okay, I'll try.
Okay.
501c3, as most of you probably know, is a tax-exempt nonprofit organization. It has no owners. Its funding sources tend to be philanthropic, although increasingly nonprofits are seeking to diversify their revenue sources, and prudently so in my judgment. From a governance point of view, they are run by a board of trustees or directors who have a fiduciary duty to further mission. They must be organized and operated exclusively for charitable purposes. So the decision to select a 501c3 form is typically driven by funding source, by, that is, philanthropic funding source, by the fact that the founders are willing to forego entrepreneurial opportunities, given that no ownership means no exit strategy for their personal benefit. And so that's the 501c3 in probably the shortest definition anyone's ever given. The L3C is or maybe a for-profit, I think is where you're beginning. For-profit, on the other hand, it does not invite tax-deductible contributions. Instead, it is an investment model where there is ownership, can be creditors, as the nonprofit can also secure creditors. But there is governance is by those people who are the financial stakeholders in the organization typically, or their designees, and it does accommodate and indeed encourage ultimate exits in the form of strategic sales or even IPOs. So there's a difference in terms of objective, one being charitable in the expansive 501c3 sense of that word, and the other being driven by profits. And although the for-profit model, of course, also can have a mission attached to it, it needn't. Does that help?
I think so.
Okay.
And then can you talk a little bit about the L3C and the Benefit Corp?
Sure. The L3C, the Low Profit Limited Liability Company, is a specialized form of LLC, the LLC being the most popular business form in the United States. The L3C must be organized and operated significantly or primarily for charitable or educational purposes. And it is, in its base case, was intended to facilitate a specialized form of investment by foundations called program-related investments that count against the foundation's obligation to distribute 5% of assets annually for charitable purposes. This is more commonly satisfied through grants. But now we are again moving toward an investment model, and the PRI, or program-related investment, is one example of that phenomenon. The L3C can leverage those program-related investments to attract private sector investment concurrently or subsequently. So the idea again is to use philanthropy catalytically to encourage self-sufficiency and autonomy by social purpose for-profit businesses.
Okay, and we're going to be jumping into more details on the L3C soon. The Benefit Corp.
Benefit Corp is to be distinguished from the B Corp, often confused with it. A B Corp is a brand that is available to for-profit enterprises that meet the rigorous sustainability criteria imposed by B Lab, which itself is a 501c3 organization. Benefit Corp is a statute. It's a business form. It must be a corporation. A B Corp can be any for-profit form, but a benefit corporation must be a corporation by election in those states which permit it, where the charter of the corporation calls out a general social purpose and may identify specific social purposes as well. And as long as the directors and officers of the benefit corporation reasonably perform their duties, including the pursuit of a social purpose and the publication of its social performance on an annual basis, then the directors and officers are inoculated from shareholder claims that the directors and officers failed to make all decisions in furtherance of financial rewards for owners. So that's the Benefit Corp.
Okay.